Okay, so this is Tribe Storytime Part 1. Let's just run it, see how we go. I went from someone who was lonely as fuck, without any of the connections that I really wanted, even though I had friends around me, to now having some of the best relationships and friendships I've ever seen in a young man of this generation. And I've been making these educational videos online trying to share some tips about connection and promoting building a tribe, especially for the young guys out there who are struggling with this. So many of us are struggling. But I haven't really been sharing the human stories and the real experiences that have led me to this moment. These tips, these bits and pieces of information, we don't lack information these days. We lack the true stories and the inspiration that give context to all of this, that give meaning to all of this. So that's what this whole series is about. I'm just gonna ramble on about a couple of experiences that I've had and document and essentially commemorate some of the memories that I've had with my boys, that I've had with the closest people in my life, which have built my core tribe, which has built my close circle, and has changed me so much in the last few years. Because I've got a rare case where I've got a very clear split test between previously not having good connections, not having any romantic interests in me, and not having much self-belief and confidence at all, to now having all of those things. I still doubt myself, I still waver, I still feel like these videos are dog shit a lot of the time, but I also have such strong conviction that my message is fucking crystal clear, my message is correct, human connections is everything. I don't think that's really controversial at this point. So, again, that's what this is about. I'm going to be sharing some of the real human stories behind all the bits and pieces of information that I will still continue to put out there. So the first, I guess, core moment that I can remember, like a distinct moment that I can recall, which shaped the last 2-3 years of dramatic progress in terms of my social life, was this walk that I had. One of the first, long, deep talk walks with someone who was back then a high school friend who I was fairly close with. He's a good dude. I really, really liked him, looked up to him in a lot of ways, but I'll get into that a bit more. Who now has become my best friend. Who now has become, I like to describe him as my kindred spirit. My brother in arms, fucking number one, right? Someone who understands all of my pain points, who understands my biggest dreams and visions and aspirations, and also my deepest struggles and where I've been in the past. So other than my beautiful, loving partner, like my girlfriend, this guy is the closest thing to my kindred spirit as I have found, and there's a few others who are kindred spirits in other ways, but he embodies it to the greatest degree. Well, I'll just say his name's Tom. And this all fucking started from a stupid ass 3.5-hour walk around the parks near my house. This was 2021, late 2021 into 2022, I believe. We had a couple of walks from there, 2-3 more catch-ups, all 2-3 hours long. And those initial early chats, conversations, they laid the groundwork. They planted the seed for the massive evolution that I had in the last 3 years. For the massive change that I made with my friendship group in the last 2 years, and the fucking night and day difference that happened last year, in 2024, the year of firsts. So the last 3 years have been ascending levels of dramatic change. In myself, in my life, in my social setting, and my surroundings and the people. There's kind of 3 primary revelations that came from this conversation, this interaction, and I'll go through each of them. So number 1 is that it shattered my beliefs around other people and around perfection and around this perfect image. Number 2, I realized that we are not so different after all. And number 3, opening up was reframed. Vulnerability was reframed just slightly. This was further kind of cemented in later things that happened to me and experiences, but this was the earliest seed, one of the earliest instances that I can recall. So let's go through each of them. Number one, the talk shattered my illusions of perfection and of other people. It stopped me from putting people on a pedestal as much, and it was because of how I thought of my friend Tom. It was because of my understanding of him in the first place. Basically, for the longest time, I was, basically throughout the whole of high school, I was the fat Asian kid. I was, the chubby kid. I was a gamer. I was a nerd. I was into K-pop. I was into video games. I was fucking jacking off in my room like 3 times a day. I didn't like myself. I didn't like my life. I didn't like the way I was conducting my life. I still had fun. I still had people who liked me. I was still charming. I was still, fairly well spoken. But the thing is, I was cruising along with my talents. I was cruising along with my bullshit ability. I wasn't taking life very seriously. And not many people were taking me very seriously. And my self-image was dog shit. Here comes this fucking Tom guy. He's like, in my mind, and also in a way objectively, he was this handsome, athletic, smart, hardworking, socially charming, just, what's that word? Like, just a stand-up guy, like an upstanding young citizen, that kind of vibes. So he'd be top of the grade for whatever bunch of different subjects. Like, he'd be good at all the different subjects, got the top grades. He would be athletic. He's fucking like lean, shredded, sporty Asian guy. This handsome, sexy young bloke. He still played games with us. He was still funny and charming and had a lot of friends. The girls all liked him. The girls I liked him. And the thing is, because I was still, somewhat his friend, I still liked him no matter how much I wanted to hate this motherfucker. I was jealous of what he had. I was envious. I was jealous. I was like, holy shit. Like, I bet life is so much easier for him. How come my life isn't like his? How come I'm ugly and fat and I'm sitting here watching porn for the fucking 3rd time today or whatever? Like, how come he's better than me in every single way and I can't even dislike him because he's just nice? He's just doing a good job. He's just like no enemies, and because he was part of my friendship circle, I was always around him. Everyone liked him. And that was my image of Tom growing up through basically the whole of high school, up until even past high school, even into uni, up until this chat. See, in this chat, I don't remember what the circumstance was, but we did a little catch up, and I think it's because he prompted it. I think it was because he was struggling. This is kind of foreshadowing what's about to happen, but it was also in the middle of COVID, so I was in my full kind of locked away. Oh, this is another thing that I never talked about, but during COVID, I kind of fully regressed in social skills. So I disappeared for a long while. I was MIA. Some of my closer friends from high school thought I literally had severe depression or something. They were checking up on me, making sure I was still alive, all of that, which I really appreciate. Some of these guys are still the people with me now in my core tribe because these were the real motherfuckers. But back to the main story. We catch up near my house. I couldn't drive at the time. He drives over. We go for a walk. And I think I had been in my house a lot, and I'd been pushing off other people's attempts to catch up with me a lot. And finally, I kind of gave in or whatever. Like, I wanted to speak to Tom, haven't caught up properly in a while. Went for a walk, beautiful weather. I remember it was like a golden hour. And we were just walking and chatting about our lives. And somehow we started opening up about our struggles. I think that was one of the first times I had really opened up about like porn consumption, for example. I think that was a later talk, but basically we started talking about relationship issues / girl problems because I didn't have a relationship. I'd never been in one. But I was crushing on a girl and she was not liking me back, which was the normal cycle for me back then. And I was getting so fucking frustrated, so I think I was telling him about it. Somehow, we got to his issues and his struggles. And I won't share much of the specifics, but he was having some, difficulty with relationships, with his body image, with himself, and a lot of different things. And to me, that was fucking mind-blowing. Remember all the stuff I just said about what I thought of Tom back in the day? Of my mental image and my conception of this being. This perfect fucking other family's kid, good grades, good physique, good character, everything perfect. And here he was, describing struggles that I never even thought possible for someone like him. Describing struggles that, to me, were, wait a second, they're not the same as mine, but I get it. That sounds familiar. He can't be fucking lying, because I know exactly what that feels like. It's too hard for someone else, unless this guy's a fucking paid actor, Hollywood millionaire, fucking Oscar-winning actor, there's no way good old Tom could whip out something like this out of thin air as an act to dupe me into opening up or something. Like that, I never really thought about it that way, but there was a part of me where I was like, wait, is this guy being for real? And very quickly, it was like, oh shit, he has to be. I know exactly what these things feel like. There is no chance that any of us are that skilled to be able to play this role. That's not a role you want to play anyways. Right? This is a fucking despair. There's no way someone like him would even want to be in there unless he had to, or was dragged into it, or fell into it by accident. And so we end up talking. Basically, the whole time it was us going in turns, spilling the struggles we're having with relationships, with girls, with family, with ourselves. And the more we went, the more I was just like, how is this happening? The person who I held as most perfect, as compared to everyone else, was here breaking down all the ways that he's crumbling, he's falling apart. And he's essentially coming to me for help and for a voice, for a person to speak to, really. And I guess the luck comes in the sense that it was a good coincidence that both of us were struggling in similar modes to different extents and different specifics, but in similar modes, right? Both about girls, for example, at the same time. Because then when one shares, the other one's prompted to share, and it's not just like, oh yeah, me too, but it's like, oh, I've got something similar, let's see if we can help each other out. Let's see if what I thought and what I felt was real, was legit. Did you feel the same way? And that kind of moves us to the second point. So firstly, that completely shattered my perfect notion of Tom. And I realized that, oh shit, he is just a person. Oh shit, this guy who I thought was so, immaculate and invincible had levels of pain and struggle and suffering that were just as bad as mine, even though they were slightly different. And now moving on to that second point is, though the exact pains weren't the same, we still aren't that different after all. Because previously I thought this guy was like a fucking different league. We were on different planets with different species. Right? Like my life, there's no way he could understand my life and my pains. And my life is nothing similar to his. And I thought this of other people I talked to. I thought this of girls as well. And that had to be kind of deconstructed later. More like last year, to be honest. And I found that we're not so different after all because he could articulate pains which I understood. And again, going back to that thing I just said, there's no way he could fake it. Like, I've felt my own experience, and this was when 2020 to 2021, during COVID, during the lockdowns, was when I started getting like pretty introspective. Because, all I was doing was listening to music, drawing, watching K-pop videos, and fucking like reading and writing in my room. And so I was very I wouldn't say accurately, but acutely aware of my own internal texture and my own sufferings and what it felt like and the struggles and the contradictions in my head. I was just starting to notice that I was a fucking walking bundle of paradoxes. And yet, here he is too. So, yeah, to me, that was another shocking insight. Like, firstly, he's not perfect, and secondly, he's imperfect in the same ways that I'm imperfect. What the fuck? We look nothing alike, other than the fact that, we're Asian and we're dudes. The amount of difference that I had previously believed was all a fucking lie. They were so surface level. It's like the cover of the book was so different, but the contents, the exact wording was different too, but all the chapters and the actual context were basically the same. And I found later on, which we'll tell more of as well, is that me and Tom, why I call him a kindred spirit, we ended up having the same, not the exact same problems, but oftentimes the same buckets of problems where we would be on the opposite ends. We would be on two sides of the same issue. So for example, I was too fat and I was trying to lose weight and I was unhappy with my body image. And he was, in his mind, too skinny and he was trying to gain weight and he was unhappy with his body image. So I had no fucking clue that was going on in his head. And then, shattered that perfection, but then I realized, oh shit, wait, I thought these were two completely different issues. It's the same issue of body image. And then something else was the same, and then something else was the same. And it was just like thing after thing. That first walk was the first time that I realized, wow, me and Tom are way more similar than I had previously thought possible. And I think that's what laid the seeds for all of the connections from then on. Because I didn't even know that other people who appeared so different from me could be similar to me in any way. I was still, I guess it's a very naive view. I didn't realize that human desires, human frustrations, human fears were so universal, and it's just all the specifics are different. And human wirings, beyond a certain resolution, it's fairly, let's say, not even the same, but understandable, relatable. Relatable is such like a basic and overused term, but it's accurate here. It's not that we are exactly the same, but it's that we're not so different that it's unrelatable. I could relate to this guy. He could relate to me, even though I thought we were worlds apart. And so final point, I don't want to keep this going for too long. Final point is that when we both opened up, our respect for each other actually increased even as we continued to kind of degrade our own self-images in the other person's eyes. Not self-image, our image in the other person's eyes. So as Tom told me all the ways he was struggling, all his flaws and all the fucking pointless overthinking he was doing for a lot of things, just as I was doing, as he told me those things and literally destroyed my image of perfection of him in my mind, my respect for him actually grew. This was mind-boggling to me as well. This was a paradigm-shifting moment. It's like, what? Wait, hold on. So I thought this guy was perfect. And yet, as he destroyed his own perfect image, my respect for him and my liking of him actually went up. What the fuck just happened? Right, that was... This gets developed a lot more when I read a specific book, which, again, I'll get into in a future episode of this Tribe Story Time. But that was the primary moment, which was a clear example in my own life. Like, obviously, I've seen this, heard this in other aspects. But this was... Like, imagine being in my shoes as a fat, fucking 20-year-old Jack. Poor self-image and, skewed views of my people around me in my life. I've had this perfected image of Tom for like 6-7 years. Or really like 8 years by then. And then for it to be shattered by himself in this fucking chat, and then for my respect for him to increase, it was just like the physics wasn't adding up. That's what it felt like. And so at the time I didn't quite realize it, but that was when I first noticed the power of vulnerability, the power of showing the full truth and leaving nothing unsaid. Like, I said things to him that I had never told anyone else before, that I had only written down in my journal, privately, locked away in an app with a fucking passcode. And I'm guessing for him it was the same as well. He told me things that, like, I knew needed not to be told to anyone else. And I think, honestly, that's, like, looking back, that's probably one of the reasons why he came to me, and I think he might have told me as well, is that I knew how to keep secrets. But at the time, it's also because I didn't fucking talk to anyone, right? Like, my only friends were a couple of really good people from overseas, because I used to do a lot of art with them, draw and paint online. I wasn't really talking to anyone in real life circle, like people we knew. So I was a safe satellite friend at that time. But yeah, the fact that my respect for him increased and how much I liked him and how much I was willing to connect with him increased dramatically after that chat and in our subsequent chats. That's why I say this was such a defining moment for me. And I think also no one had really invited me to do something like that in the past. Which again is why I felt I wasn't that connected to the people I knew, to even my close friends. We hadn't really ever done that. No one had shown me their true flaws and their true struggles and their true insecurities, and I hadn't shown that to anyone either. All I did was hide. So surrounded by people, I was still putting on a fucking mask, putting on my walls, my invisible shields, hiding away everything negative that I thought was shameful or embarrassing, and therefore I could never really connect. There was always a barrier. I could never touch anyone. Physically, emotionally, whatever. This was the first time that glass wall broke just a little bit for me to be able to like reach out a hand and just fucking like hold my friend here who was suffering. So yeah, I think I'll leave it there. Those 3 things coming from one chat and getting built on in the next like 2 or 3 catch-ups, but really all of it stemming from that one meetup just outside my house, like 3 minutes away from my house, and we just walked for 3-4 hours. That is fucking incredible, and it truly taught me so many of the lessons that would end up becoming the savior of my entire life moving forward. And the focus of my attention and my craft and my skills into these videos to share with other people and try to help other people as well. So much of it stemmed from that one conversation. So you truly never know what you're going to get with being willing to open up and just connect with someone. Being willing to be with them fully present in the moment and to leave nothing unsaid. For sure, I left a lot of things unsaid back then, but that one step towards leaving nothing unsaid in that moment, that enabled and spawned this entire timeline moving forward, which led to where I am now. So I can't be more thankful for Tom, both present and past, and I can't be more thankful for past Jack, my own self. Even when I was struggling so much, even when I was feeling like an absolute fucking dumbass, disgusting, ashamed of myself, Tom broke through to me and I broke through to him. And the rest is fucking history. So we'll leave it there. 27 minutes. I'll cut. There will be a few small cuts in the middle, but if you watch this far, I'm very, very thankful. I don't know why you're here, to be honest, but this will be good for me to look back on, and hopefully you got something out of it. If not, mildly entertaining. Have a good one. Don't be a little bitch, and I'll see you soon.